like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be talking about celebrity feuds, but with a bit of a twist, right?
Yeah.
We're looking at ones that really captured Gen Z's attention
Right.
and kind of unpacking what made them so fascinating. And to do that, we've got this awesome article from Woke Waves magazine. It's called 14 Epic Celebrity Feuds That Had Gen Z Hooked. So, yeah, right. We're not just going to list them out, though.
Yeah, right.
We really want to dive into, like, what makes these things tick?
Yeah.
Why are they so captivating? And what do they tell us about, Gen Z and how they see the world?
Absolutely. I think, going beyond just the drama,
Right.
I think it's key to look at what do these feuds tell us about Gen Z, their values, how they behave online, how they're engaging with the world.
Exactly. So before we jump into the specific examples, let's kind of set the stage. One thing the article points out is that for Gen Z, celebrity feuds are almost like this never-ending reality show.
It's a great analogy. Reality TV thrives on conflict, but with celebrity feuds, you've got these larger-than-life personalities. The stakes feel higher.
Yeah.
And the drama is just amplified by
social media.
Constantly.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. The article really highlights how platforms like Twitter and Instagram, they've become the stage and the weapon.
It's true. Every tweet could be a diss track,
Yeah.
every Instagram story,
Right.
a carefully curated performance.
It's almost like how much of this is genuine
Right.
and how much is just like keeping people engaged.
Yeah. Is it authentic animosity? Or is it all carefully constructed to
Sassy.
generate buzz?
I think that's something we should keep in mind as we go through these.
Absolutely.
All right, so first up,
Yeah.
we're starting with the Clash of the Titans, right? Taylor Swift
Oh, yeah.
versus Scooter Braun. Now, this one goes beyond just, personal disagreements.
Absolutely.
This taps into some really big issues in the music industry.
Yeah. For those who might not know the full story, Scooter Braun's company acquired the master recordings of Taylor Swift's first 6 albums, which means he essentially owned the rights to her music.
Whoa.
And Taylor had always wanted to own those masters and was very publicly upset.
Oh, yeah. And it sparked this huge conversation about artists' rights and ownership.
Absolutely.
And, that resonated with a lot of young musicians and fans.
It really put a spotlight on the power dynamics between artists and record labels.
Especially in this digital age.
In the digital age, yes.
And it's interesting how Taylor, she didn't just complain.
Right.
She took action. She was like, I'm going to re-record.
She re-recorded those first 6 albums.
It was a brilliant move.
It was.
And her fans, the Swifties, they rallied behind her.
Oh, yeah. They bought the re-recorded albums.
They streamed them. They defended her online.
It's a prime example of how Gen Z uses their collective power online
Totally.
to support artists they believe in,
I love that.
especially when it comes to issues like fairness and ownership.
Yeah. They're not just passively listening to music.
No.
Shaping the industry.
They're active participants.
All right. Well, from a feud about ownership, let's switch gears to one that got a little more physical.
Ooh, a little more physical.
Okay. Nicki Minaj versus Cardi B.
All right.
Now, these are two of the biggest female rappers,
Huge.
and their rivalry really blew up in 2018
Oh, yeah. At
a Harper's Bazaar party.
the Harper's Bazaar party.
Cardi B threw a shoe at Nicki.
It was a dramatic
Oh, yeah, it's a whole...
climax to a simmering tension that had been brewing for a while.
But I think we have to look beyond just the spectacle and consider the context.
Yeah. Both Nicki and Cardi have faced intense scrutiny and competition as women in a male-dominated industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That shoe-throwing incident, as crazy as it was,
Yeah.
really brought into focus the pressures and double standards
If-
that women, especially women of color, face in music.
Mhm.
And it wasn't just a one-time thing.
No.
The feud continued in their music.
Oh, yeah.
They were releasing tracks with references to each other.
Veiled and not so veiled references.
Right. It was like a lyrical duel.
It was
And their fans were obsessed with,
decoding every line.
every single line.
Yes.
Gen Z really connected with that
Yeah.
fierce energy.
Absolutely.
But it also sparked this debate about whether this kind of public rivalry ultimately helps or hurts women in hip-hop?
It's a complex question.
Totally, yeah. Does it perpetuate harmful stereotypes, or is it empowering?
Right. And it's important to acknowledge that complexity
Right.
and resist the urge to oversimplify these situations.
Okay, now for a feud that needs no introduction.
Okay,
Kanye versus Taylor.
here we go.
This one's had so many twists and turns.
It really has.
It's practically Shakespearean.
Where do we even begin?
Let's rewind to 2009.
Okay.
The MTV Video Music Awards.
Oh.
Taylor's accepting her award for Best Female Video, and suddenly...
Kanye interrupts her speech,
Oh, yeah.
grabs the microphone, and declares that Beyoncé should have won.
Such a moment
Shocking display of disrespect.
that nobody saw coming.
No one saw coming.
And that was just the beginning.
Yeah, the tip of the iceberg.
This has raged on for over a decade.
Fueled by social media, diss tracks,
Phone call.
leaked phone calls, even interventions from other celebrities.
And Gen Z has literally grown up alongside this feud.
They have.
They've seen it evolve and mutate.
It's made them incredibly savvy about the way celebrity, media, and online culture intersect.
It really has. It's like this case study in how to manipulate and control the narrative in the digital age.
Totally.
All right, let's move on to another feud that shows off that lyrical battleground of hip-hop.
Okay, let's do it.
Drake versus Pusha T.
Right.
Now, this one runs deep roots going back to the early 2000s.
Mm.
But things really exploded in 2018
Yes.
when Pusha T released a track directly accusing Drake of using ghostwriters.
Which, in the world of hip-hop,
The big no
is a major accusation.
Yeah. It questions authenticity and skill,
Absolutely.
which are so valued in hip-hop.
Totally.
Drake, of course, fired back with his own diss track,
He did.
but then Pusha T came back even harder with The Story of Adidon,
Ooh, the story of Adidon.
which not only questioned Drake's credibility,
Yeah.
but revealed that he had a son.
A secret son
Oh.
that Drake hadn't publicly acknowledged.
Whoa, that changed everything.
Shifted the narrative.
Yeah, it wasn't just about music anymore. It became
Everything
about family,
Privacy.
privacy, the consequences of these very public feuds.
Exactly.
Gen Z was fascinated by the lyrical back and forth,
Absolutely.
but it also sparked a conversation about the ethics
The ethics
of using personal information as a weapon in these battles.
Where's the line between entertainment
Yeah.
and personal attacks?
And how do you navigate privacy in a world where everything's potentially public?
Big questions.
Big, yeah. And questions that Gen Z are grappling with
They are, in their own life.
in their own lives. So no wonder they're drawn to these
Absolutely.
kinds of celebrity showdowns.
Makes sense.
All right, now let's shift to a feud that really highlights the generational divide
Okay.
and how Gen Z uses social media to call out outdated views.
Ooh, I like this.
Ariana Grande versus Piers Morgan.
Here we go.
So this one started when Piers Morgan criticized some female celebrities,
Including Little Mix.
including Little Mix and Ellen DeGeneres,
Ellen, yep.
for what he saw as hypocritical behavior.
He accused them of using their bodies to sell records while also promoting feminism.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Ariana, who's always been outspoken about women's rights, wasn't having it.
No.
She went on Twitter, called out his misogyny,
Good for her.
defended these women, and basically told him to get with the times.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Arianators
Oh, they jumped right.
jumped in to support her.
Yes.
They created a trending hashtag.
Flooding Piers Morgan's mentions with critiques.
Oh, yeah.
It was a prime example of how Gen Z uses social media as a tool for activism,
Absolutely.
calling out injustice
Yeah.
and holding public figures accountable.
It wasn't just about defending Ariana. It was about pushing back against these views that just don't fly anymore.
Outdated, yeah.
They're drawing a line in the sand.
They were.
And it really exposed that generational gap in understanding social media etiquette.
Yeah, and the power of these online platforms.
Right, like how they can amplify voices.
Absolutely.
All right, speaking of social media etiquette,
Okay.
our next feud is a perfect example
Right.
of the pitfalls of oversharing online.
Ooh, oversharing, okay.
Doja Cat versus Noah Schnapp.
Interesting.
This one went viral because it felt so relatable
I can see that.
to Gen Z, who are constantly navigating this complex digital world.
Definitely.
So Doja Cat had DM'd Noah Schnapp, who you might know from Stranger Things, asking him to set her up with his co-star, Joseph Quinn.
Okay, harmless enough.
Right. But then Noah, maybe not thinking things through,
Oh, no.
shared those private messages
On TikTok.
without Doja Cat's
Without her consent.
Wow.
The internet exploded.
I bet.
Doja was furious.
Yeah.
She publicly called him out.
Socially unaware and whack, I believe is what she said.
Right. It became this huge debate about privacy, consent, the blurry lines between public and private life online.
It's all blurred. People were divided.
Was Noah being malicious or just naive?
Right, exactly.
But it sparked a conversation that was clearly resonating with Gen Z.
Totally.
Who are constantly navigating these issues.
Yeah, they get the allure of sharing online.
Yeah.
But they also get the consequences of not respecting boundaries.
Absolutely.
Okay, are you ready for round 2 of a feud we already talked about?
Let's do it.
Kim Kardashian versus Taylor Swift.
Here we go again.
This one's intertwined with the whole Kanye-Taylor saga. But Kim and Taylor's conflict has its own unique dynamics.
It does.
The crux of it is that famous lyric.
The famous lyric.
And whether or not Taylor approved it beforehand.
Right.
Kim claimed she had proof in the form of those Snapchat videos.
There's that videos, yeah.
Of the phone call between Kanye and Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
And those videos, they ignited a firestorm.
They did?
Public opinion turned against Taylor.
A lot of people accused her of being a liar and playing the victim.
Yeah, it was a masterclass in damage control on social media.
It was.
But also a cautionary tale about how quickly the tide can turn online.
In the digital age, perception often becomes reality.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It is.
All right, now let's step back in time to a feud that's legendary in pop music.
All right, take me back.
Lady Gaga versus Madonna.
Oh, yes.
This is a classic clash of the titans.
Two iconic female artists, both known for pushing boundaries and their impact on pop music.
It all started when Gaga released Born This Way.
Which some people thought sounded a lot like
Madonna's Express Yourself.
Yeah, even Madonna herself commented on the similarities.
Which many people interpreted as an attempt to undermine Gaga and question her originality.
Their fans obviously jumped in, defending their queens.
They're debating
who was the true innovator.
Yeah.
It became a cultural touch point.
It did.
Sparking conversations about influence, originality.
And how musical styles evolve.
The feud kind of reached its peak during Madonna's MDNA tour.
Oh, tell me more.
She performed a mashup.
She did.
Of Express Yourself and Born This Way.
Which many saw as a not-so-subtle dig at Gaga.
It was a power move.
It was.
It was Madonna asserting her influence.
Reminding everyone.
Like, hey, I'm the OG queen of pop.
Exactly.
All right, next up, a feud shrouded in mystery.
Okay, I like a little mystery.
This one involves an elevator,
a
leaked security video, and a whole lot of speculation.
I'm intrigued.
Solange Knowles versus Jay-Z. Oh, yes, the infamous elevator incident.
The elevator incident. It happened after the Met Gala in 2014.
Right.
Security footage leaked showing Solange physically attacking Jay-Z in an elevator.
Well, Beyoncé just stood there.
Seemingly unfazed.
Unfazed.
The internet went wild. Everyone was trying to figure out what happened.
What happened?
Was it infidelity?
Family drama?
Professional rivalry?
Right. So many theories.
The Knowles-Carter family kept it very private.
They did.
Released a vague statement about working through their issues.
Yeah.
But it fueled endless speculation.
Of course.
And became a cultural meme. Even though we never got a clear explanation.
Right.
It became this fascinating case study in how celebrity families try to control the narrative when their private lives become public.
Especially in the age of social media.
Yeah.
Some things remain shrouded in mystery.
Yeah. Which just adds to the intrigue.
It does.
Okay, from a mysterious family feud to a clash of action movie titans.
Ooh, okay. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson versus Vin Diesel.
I've heard of this one.
This one played out on the set of the Fast and Furious franchise with rumors of tension.
Personality clashes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rock publicly called out some of his male co-stars.
On Instagram
for being unprofessional.
Called them candy asses.
Yeah, everyone assumed he was talking about Vin Diesel.
Of course!
And it turned into this huge media story.
It did. Completely overshadowed the release of the film.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the feud eventually led to The Rock stepping away from those films.
Right.
It proved that even in these big budget productions, personal conflicts can have a real impact.
They can.
Now, let's rewind to the early 2000s.
Okay.
For a feud that feels like a classic teen drama.
Oh, I love a good teen drama. Right.
Hilary Duff
Yep.
versus Lindsay Lohan.
A rivalry for the ages.
Right. It was all about competition, romance.
The paparazzi.
The paparazzi, yeah.
It was the classic love triangle. Yeah, both Hillary and Lindsay were involved with Aaron Carter.
Oh, Aaron Carter, yeah.
Which created this media frenzy.
The tabloids loved pitting them against each other,
Oh, yeah.
framing them as rivals, competing for the spotlight.
And they were both at the peak of their teen stardom.
They were.
So everything they did was magnified.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, young stars caught in the web of rivalry.
And public scrutiny.
But I think it also reflects that specific moment,
Yeah.
the early 2000s, when teen idols were everything.
Oh, they were huge.
And those gossip blogs were just starting to take hold.
They were.
Okay, now, for a legendary musical rivalry,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson versus Prince.
Two giants of music.
It wasn't openly hostile,
No.
but there was this underlying tension.
This sense of competition.
They had such contrasting styles.
They did.
Michael, the king of pop,
Right. Known for his polished showmanship.
while Prince, the purple one,
Much more enigmatic
yeah.
and experimental.
There were stories of Prince turning down collaborations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, trying to upstage Michael at concerts.
Wow.
And even allegedly beating him at ping pong.
Oh, wow.
It was this rivalry fueled by respect,
Mutual respect.
but also a drive to be the best,
to constantly innovate.
to outdo the other.
It's a great example of how healthy competition can push artists
Yeah.
to new heights.
They both left an incredible mark on music,
They did.
and their rivalry is part of what makes their legacy so compelling,
Shows the competition, when approached constructively,
right?
can really be a catalyst for creativity and growth.
Let's talk about a feud that gets into politics and pop culture.
Ooh, interesting mix.
Azalea Banks versus Lana Del Rey.
Okay, I'm listening.
This clash brought up issues like cultural appropriation,
Race.
race, the role of artists in politics.
It's a lot.
It started when Lana Del Rey criticized Kanye for his support of Donald Trump.
Right.
Then Azalea Banks went on this Twitter rant,
Oh.
accusing Del Rey of hypocrisy and appropriating Black culture.
It got very personal.
It did.
They were making cutting remarks about each other's careers.
Yeah, it raised questions about who gets to criticize who and what responsibility artists have
To address these issues.
to address social and political issues.
Yeah.
And it showed how social media can be this battleground for these discussions,
Sure.
often with more heat than light.
It can be, yeah.
Finally, let's wrap up with another feud from the Disney Channel.
Okay, back to Disney.
Miley Cyrus versus Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato.
Ooh, the trials and tribulations of young stardom.
Right. This one had all the elements of a teen drama.
It did.
Back in the early days of YouTube,
Yeah.
Miley and a friend made a video mocking Selena and Demi.
Which, of course, ignited a feud between their fan bases.
It was a whole thing.
It was
The media loved it, framing it as this battle between Disney starlets.
vying for supremacy.
Yeah.
It's a classic example of how even minor conflicts between young stars can be amplified by the media.
And for Gen Z,
Yeah.
who loved these Disney stars,
Right.
it was like watching a real-life
A
episode.
glimpse behind the scenes,
Their favorite show.
fueling their fascination.
Yeah.
And sparking endless debates about who was right and wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
It's fascinating.
It really is.
Yeah. You know, it's funny how some of these feuds, ones that started years ago, still resonate with Gen Z today. Like,
Yeah.
is there something about this generation and their relationship with celebrity? Like, they can really sustain these narratives.
It's true. And as we've been going through these, I keep noticing how social media is always central. It's like the battleground.
Really is.
Yeah.
Social media has totally transformed the landscape of celebrity feuds.
Right. Like imagine before social media, this was all
Behind closed doors.
behind closed doors.
Gossip columns.
Yeah. Carefully crafted statements.
Now it's all out in the open.
Totally raw and unfiltered.
Brahma, unfiltered.
Every tweet, every Instagram story, every TikTok.
A weapon.
It's a potential weapon.
It creates this constant pressure to perform, react, defend yourself.
And that makes it so hard to tell what's real and what's just for show.
Exactly. How do you separate genuine emotion from strategy?
It's like we're all watching this reality show where
You never know what's staged
you never know what's real. Yeah.
and what's authentic.
But I think Gen Z gets that.
They do.
They've grown up with social media. They know how it can be used.
To manipulate, shape narratives.
They're not easily fooled.
They're skeptical but engaged.
Yes, and that engagement,
They're powerful.
it's like they're analyzing every post, every lyric.
Weighing in with their opinions.
And it makes me think about fandom,
Fandom has evolved.
how it's changed in the age of social media. These fans are fiercely loyal,
They are.
and they'll defend their idols.
Or hold them accountable.
Exactly. We saw that with the Swifties, with the Arianators.
Yes, calling out Piers Morgan.
They are a force.
A force to be reckoned with.
And they have this global reach.
It's
It's not just Hollywood or the music industry.
It transcends geographical boundaries, cultural differences.
It's like they're creating this global community.
They're finding each other, connecting,
Over shared passions, frustrations.
mobilizing to make their voices heard,
It's like a form of digital activism.
using social media to call out injustice, challenge the status quo.
It's so easy to dismiss celebrity feuds as like trivial,
I know.
but I think they show us a lot about Gen Z.
They reflect their values, concerns,
They're thinking about ownership, authenticity, privacy,
social justice.
the nature of fame in this hyper-connected world.
It's a lot.
These feuds are like a platform for them to work through all of that.
To debate, take sides.
Yeah, find their own voice in the culture.
It's messy.
It is, but it's dynamic.
It is.
I'm curious, do you see differences in how older versus younger celebs approach these feuds?
That's a good question.
It seems like younger stars are more likely to go public.
Yeah, use social media as their main weapon.
Like maybe they're just more comfortable with that exposure.
It's possible. They've grown up with it.
Maybe they've learned from watching older generations.
Yeah, they understand the power of controlling the narrative.
Whereas older celebs might be more used to,
Behind closed doors.
yeah, the old way of doing things.
Publicists, legal teams, careful statements.
Stuff like privacy has changed.
It has.
Those lines are so blurred.
Especially for celebrities.
It's a lot of pressure.
Constant pressure to be on. Manage your image.
Control the narrative.
And it's not just celebrities who feel that.
No, I think we all do to some extent.
In this hyper-connected age,
We're all performing online.
curating our identities,
Yeah.
trying to figure out privacy,
It's a lot.
it is a lot.
So where do we go from here? What do future feuds look like as social media keeps evolving?
Wow, that's the question, isn't it?
I don't know if anyone has the answer.
It's hard to say.
But if the past is any indication, I think it'll get even more complex.
More unpredictable.
More immersive.
Maybe we'll see feuds in virtual reality.
Ooh.
Avatars battling it out.
Okay, that's wild.
Or augmented reality diss tracks.
That's actually
Layered over real life.
not that far-fetched.
I know, right? And with AI, who knows? AI-generated feuds.
Oh, wow.
Deep fakes that blur the lines even more.
That's a little scary.
It is. It's a fascinating and potentially treacherous terrain.
So listeners, we've given you a lot to think about today.
We have.
From fandom to privacy.
Celebrity feuds are a window into our digital age.
They're not just entertainment.
They reflect our culture, our values.
The challenges we face in this hyper-connected world.
Exactly.
So here's a final thought. As social media evolves and technology keeps blurring those lines, what role will celebrity feuds play in how we understand fame, fandom, and online culture?
That's a big question.
It is. Keep exploring.
Read the article, dive deeper.
Form your own conclusions.
Because the world of celebrity is always changing.
And Gen Z is leading the way.
Shaping the future of how we interact online with the people we admire. Or maybe love to hate.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Be curious.
It's crazy how these feuds really reflect these bigger changes, like especially with Gen Z and what they value.
Right. It's not just gossip.
No.
It's a cultural conversation.
Yeah, like about ownership, authenticity.
All of that.
I'm thinking about Taylor and Scooter Braun.
Mhm.
Her re-recording those albums, that resonated with so many.
It did.
It wasn't just the music, it was taking control.
Right. Her own narrative.
Exactly. And Gen Z, they get that.
They've grown up in a world where ownership is always being negotiated.
Especially online.
Especially online.
Yeah.
They understand the value of intellectual property.
And they'll fight for it.
They will.
And it's not just legal ownership, it's about having a say in your own story.
Your image, your voice.
Ariana and Piers Morgan, she wasn't going to let him
No way.
dictate her feminism.
Or her support for other women.
And her fans, they were right there with her.
They backed her up. They weren't just listening,
They were participating.
using their voices.
It's interesting how those lines have blurred. Fan and activist, they're not separate anymore.
It's a powerful thing.
Gen Z is using their fandom to change things.
Absolutely.
And I think it's changing what celebrity even means.
How so?
Like, Gen Z doesn't want that old school untouchable fame.
Right. They aren't relatable.
Authentic, engaged.
And they'll hold their idols accountable.
We saw that with Doja Cat and Noah Schnapp.
It wasn't just leaked DMs.
No, it was about boundaries, privacy.
Thinking before you post.
It was so Gen Z, like it reflected their lives online.
Their lived experience.
They get how fast things can go viral.
How context can get lost.
And I think that's shaping these feuds.
How do you think?
I think we'll see less of that old PR stuff.
The carefully crafted statements.
And more raw, real-time conflict.
Online for everyone to see.
It's kind of exciting, but also a little scary.
I agree.
What does the future hold for all of this?
That's a good question.
Celebrity fandom, how we interact online.
It's a brave new world out there.
And Gen Z is leading the way, for better or worse. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the big takeaway is...
Well said.
These feuds aren't just about gossip.
No.
They're a reflection of what's happening in our culture.
The values, the anxieties of a generation navigating a changing world.
Exactly. And they remind us that even celebrity drama can spark conversations about things that matter.
Important things.
So next time you're scrolling and see a feud,
don't just dismiss it.
think about what it says about the world.
And about yourself.
That's a great point to end on. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive.
We did.
Until next time, stay curious.
And keep exploring.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut